So I'm venturing in the abstract world territory with this. It's something I don't typically do, but I figured it's cool to change things up. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Muff. If you are rocking with this content, go ahead and smash that like button for your boy. Also subscribe if you haven't. But today, I'm going to be hitting y'all with my thoughts on this new project from Mike entitled Showbiz. So Mike is one of the more sought after abstract rappers in the underground scene today. Now, I have to admit, I did stumble onto this New York rapper's work late, by the way of his collab album with Wiki entitled Faith is a Rock. And I listened to his 2023 project, Burning Desire, but this new release, Showbiz, is only the third Mike project that I've ever heard. So I don't have a ton of context into what makes him tick as an artist or a lot of knowledge of his overall catalog, but I am aware that he has a very dedicated and loyal fan base. Now, this project contains a whopping 24 tracks, but they aren't very long in length, so therefore the album runs approximately 47 minutes. The production was mostly handled by Mike himself under the moniker DJ Black Power. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with that track-by-track breakdown. The opener, Bear Trap, has a two-part instrumental. The first has some twinkling pianos and a soul sample, while the second has this mystical beat, and it contains a voicemail of his dad to close things off. As a whole, it's a pretty introspective opener. Track 2, Clown of the Class Work Harder, has a blissful soul sample that was recently used on the Crime Apple and Apollo Brown project. On this record, it appears that Mike is talking about the grind that it takes to be successful. He raps, tequila burps, trying to mask the angst for it surfaces. I'm still at work, just a different day, different purposes. Next is Then We Could Be Free, which has this joyous sample loop that did give me some Alchemist vibes. And here Mike is rhyming with a different cadence or scheme. As a whole, I did enjoy some of Mike's hopeful poetic bars and just the overall energy to the beat. Immediately after is the high point, Watered Down, with its attractive sped up R&B sample. The instrumental is super fire and Mike is rapping with this drunken slurred flow. He says, can't barter crowns, can't bargain with me. And he basically goes on to talk about how other MC styles are watered down and kind of surface level. The following, Man in the Mirror, has a slick, groovy instrumental, and Mike is rapping with a faster flow, saying, just talking to the man in the blurred mirror. He also had the fly line, I was never by the sand, I'm a curb kicker. Afterwards is Artist of the Century, and this has another fun, upbeat instrumental that feels reminiscent to some old Beatnuts production. I gotta love the zany vibes for this beat. And Mike is rapping in a more triumphant tone, giving himself flowers for rising above all the madness. Things do mellow out a bit for the following track, What You About to Do / A Star Was Born. And this is set to a spacious instrumental with some soothing vocals at the end from 4-5. A track like this did take the energy down considerably, but it is expected given that the preceding songs were lively. The next one, Belly One, also has a slower beat, but this one is more on the pensive and hypnotic side, and Mike admits to being flawed and not being perfect, but still there is this theme of perseverance to it. And there is The Rock, which has this fuzzy, murky instrumental, and there's a subtle Jay-Z reference. Sometimes I feel like I'm Hove, that don't mean I'm rocking with you. Probably the most subtle Jay-Z reference I probably heard in this song. But overall, cool, vibe-heavy track. Track 10, The Wait to K20, has this unconventional jazz rap beat that is super fire, and there are introspective raps. The high point was the instrumental, but he does kind of peel back the layers, talking about how he's amazed that it took him up until this year to feel that he does exist. Then there is Lost Scribe, another favorite that has this endearing soul sample that is probably the most addictive in my opinion, and Mike states it's a war when I scribe. What follows is the poignant "You're the Only One Watching," and this is a heartfelt dedication to his late mom over an emotional soul sample, and you're getting some of his deepest lines on the whole project, definitely making it a standout. Track 13, Lucky, has a psychedelic sample, dope drums, and rhymes about him being grateful, and he talks about having to pass in the streets despite not having to wear a flag. Next is number 82, and there's a mellow instrumental. The beat just feels like taking a stroll on a rainy day. This is followed up by the instrumental interlude, Too Hot. It's kind of woozy, but it sets things up right before Pieces of a Dream. Now, Pieces of a Dream has this whimsical jazz rap beat that's one of my favorites. It's so funky and quirky, and Mike is, again, rapping in this disoriented, drunken flow, repeating lines that he's not sober. Track 17, Strange Feeling, has another bright, attractive vocal chop. This pretty hypnotic. Following this is Zombie Part 2, which has this science fiction slash mad scientist type of beat, but the drums are pretty pulsating. Following this is Burning House, the only song that I believe contains 2 verses. Here you have some softer flutes and a melancholy sample. Then there's a mesmerizing beat shift on the second part of the track. Then there's the drumless Showbiz intro. It's kind of late in the project for intro, but he is rapping with a little more urgency over this cloudy beat, reminding us that he's a synonym of a go-getter. Next is Spun Out, where we get some melodic trap vibes, and this is followed up by Miss You, and it's kind of a detour in that Mike is not rapping, rather it features, I'd say, some neo-soul-like vocals from Duendita that are pretty lush and chill. Second to last track, When It Rains, has a spectacular instrumental. I love the elegant keys and the alluring vocal chops. You even get a quick vocal snippet at the very beginning, and on this one, Mike is spitting some game to a woman, but he does admit that his lyrics are dark, and he's sorry that he doesn't have anything to spin at a party. Then this project closes out with Diamond Dancing Broke, with this 80s synth-like production and faint vocal chants that are kind of hard to make out. So overall, I'm gonna give this project a rating of 4 mics. So while I'm still not entirely in love with Mike's style of delivery or just his rhyming in general, I do get the appeal that he is going to have for some listeners, especially those who prefer that abstract rap aesthetic. But what made this album stand out, in my opinion, to give it 4 mics, was some of the dynamic, creative, and colorful production. There was never really a dull moment instrumentally, which I thought kept the listener on their toes, and that was needed because Mike on his own isn't the most engaging vocalist. That being said, as good as this record sounds production-wise, and it is creative, I'm still not entirely sold either on his one verse and short hook approach to songs. Now, to be fair, Mike is not the only artist who uses this style, but still, some song structure every now and then isn't a bad thing, right? My favorite tracks include Clown of the Class, Watered Down, Man in the Mirror, Artist of the Century, The Wait, 2K20, Lost Scribe, You're the Only One Watching, Hashtag 82, Pieces of a Dream, Zombie Part 2, and When It Rains. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Mob. I am signing out. As always, it's peace and blessings. Mike, Showbiz 1.